In 3, 2, 1.
Are we done? Are we on?
Are we done? We're finished. We are done.
And it's a wrap.
Thanks for listening to Hybrid Unlimited.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Hybrid Unlimited. This is episode number
9.
9?
No, I heard
10.
9 last
10.
time.
Wow, I was wrong this time.
10.
Right.
Lucky number 10. His
Yeah.
birthday's 10th of the 10th. We like 10.
Episode
I'm 10
number
everything.
10. And today we have the pleasure of having Sebastian Oreb, Felicia Oreb. I actually don't know your last name because I keep calling him Oreb.
Dinny J.
It's Jay.
Jay.
Dinny J.
Diana
Johnson.
Johnson.
But look,
That's
yeah.
the whitest last name.
Yeah,
Isn't
or
it?
the blackest. Right?
Well, you
Could go
pick.
either way.
Dinny
Felicia
J.
wasn't a Johnson.
You have to
but
explain
yes.
yourself.
It was Giannakopoulos.
Why is a Greek person named Johnson?
So our name is actually Giannakopoulos, which is a Giannakopoulos.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I like
when our
that.
parents came here, they needed an Aussie name. So they changed it to Johnson, which is the son of John.
So
Huh.
Yanni
Are they
is
sons of-
John
are they
and
sons of-
Poulos is son of.
Kind
So
of.
Giannakopoulos.
Kind of.
We really should.
What does Poulos mean?
We really should check this.
Poulos means son of.
Anyway, Dinny J it is.
Look, I don't know about
Dinny J.
So it's
I
Jay.
really like that story. I really like that story.
Great
Thanks for
start to
having
the
us,
podcast.
guys.
Thanks for having us, guys.
So exciting.
So
Glad you could be
exciting.
here.
So are you guys British with these accents that you guys
We
have?
are Australian, mate.
We have
To
flown.
you guys, it sounds the same. To us, it's very different.
No,
But
Alex
we're
thinks he's
Aussies.
Alex thinks he's Australian/British, but he sounds like the Queen.
When he does his Australian accent, can you please give me an Australian
But here's the
accent?
thing. I used to be really good at it when I was a kid when I used to watch
doubt it.
Crocodile Dundee.
I doubt
And-
He loves Steve Irwin.
No one in Australia speaks like Crocodile Dundee or
I do.
Steve Irwin.
I do.
Down under. No? You guys don't
That
like
was
the Outback? No?
Yes, we
Oh,
live in
okay.
the outback.
Yeah, all
We
right,
do
well.
not live in the outback.
live in
No,
the
we
city.
don't. We live in
the
Sydney.
We live in Sydney.
Sydney, Australia, and it's really, really a city.
It's
like
actually
this.
quite like Miami.
It's quite similar.
Yeah, it's
I hear
super
that
similar.
you guys claim that you have the best coffee.
Well, I don't
Um,
drink coffee, so I can't.
I'm
claim
like
anything.
the biggest coffee snob
And
in the whole of Sydney.
Okay, and-
Look, they claim that Melbourne has better coffee than Sydney, but I'm
Okay,
going to say
and-
that Sydney.
I'm
Tops
inclined
Melbourne.
to agree with you. Honestly, we got hyped up everyone. As soon as we made any sort of post that we were going to Australia, they're like, you got to try Melbourne coffee. It's
Yeah,
the best.
right.
And then we tried it, and it just
What was your
kinda-
favorite in
sucked.
Sydney?
It
It
sort of
sucked.
tasted sour.
Oh.
In
is what I
Melbourne?
thought.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
going
what
to say
I
it's like a little bit, you know when they're like really, really hipster, like when someone's really hipster and they
Uh-huh.
like take it that notch too far. Melbourne's a bit like
That's
that.
Melbourne.
Yeah, so it's like kind of borderline acidic, not the greatest.
sour.
Sour? It's
Yeah.
a really odd
Like-
description.
Like old
That's
milk.
but I'll take it. Sour.
Oh, okay.
I liked Sydney coffee though.
Where did you
Wow,
go?
there you go.
What was your fave?
As if
it was
he's
right-
going to remember.
I don't know, that spot we went there like every day. It was right down from your gym. It was a
Oh,
breakfast
I
spot.
can't even remember what
They
that
had
was
good
called.
coffee.
Okay.
On Blue Street.
Oh yeah,
Okay, it was
I don't
probably a
know.
camp boss.
Anyway,
Nonetheless.
That area is no longer for us. We've
yeah,
left.
we're out of North.
We're on the
Sydney.
other side of the bridge now. So when you guys came to Sydney, that was at North Sydney Base Gym. Now we've moved about 20 minutes down the road in a much better location. We can't wait to have you guys there. It's a lot better than what it was in North Sydney.
I'm
So it's
excited.
the other
Yeah.
side of the city, but it's only 20 minutes away?
Yeah.
Pretty
so-
much.
So is
Yeah.
it pretty easy to get from one side of the city to the next?
Yeah, minus the traffic.
Here's the Harbour Bridge. There's the city. 1 minute this way is North Sydney.
Okay.
So
We
we were
used-
1 minute away from the city. But now,
Okay.
but now we're kind of over here. So it's 20
So,
minutes away from
why
there.
the move?
Well, we got kicked out, essentially. The building was sold. So when we signed our lease initially at our first gym, Base Gym North Sydney, it was a 5-year lease and they didn't give us the option to extend because they sold it to a new owner. They didn't know what they were going to do with it. And then 5 years later, they said, we're going to knock it down and you guys need to
Wow.
go. Everyone needs to go.
That was a cool location actually.
It
I
was
thought.
a
It was
really cool
awesome.
location.
It was I like years back, way before we'd ever met, I stumbled onto your page because you kept coming up on the Explore page, and I always thought it was such a cool thing with the glass up top,
Yeah.
and people, whenever someone was going for a big lift, people would be peering down into
Yeah.
it.
I had
It
two
was
people
quite cool.
recognize me from up top.
Remember
Oh, did
that
you?
creepy man? That
I
kept,
remember that.
that creepy person that kept
That
coming
was
down.
odd. It was an old guy just looking at you and he's like, "That it's Steffi. They know who Steffi is." And I'm like, he doesn't know who Steffi
But
is.
he did know who Steffi was.
That's not his demographic.
No, he was.
But it was.
He was actually a really nice guy. He was actually really sweet. And he
Yeah,
just
don't call him a pervert. He was
no,
a good.
I didn't say pervert. He was just.
He's listening right now. He's
Oh,
coming to the
no,
new
he
base
was
gym.
actually really sweet, and he just was a fan, like most people of yours. We're fangirls of you.
That was
We're
pretty-
fans.
I'm fans of you.
Oh, thanks.
I'm excited to have you guys on the podcast.
Thank you.
There's
We're
a
really
lot-
excited to be here.
there's-
We really talk.
There's a lot of things that I wanna touch on.
I almost
I'm-
wanted to do 2 separate ones because they both have so much to share.
To talk
And
about.
there's so many topics. I want to talk about your
I'm interested to talk about business, both of you guys, how you develop them. I'm interested in talking about training the world's strongest men, what goes into that, and all the other high level athletes that you train.
also Base Body Babes,
Base.
which is Dinny and Felicia. That's been around forever.
Ever.
Like you guys were like pre-Instagram explosion. So
Yeah.
I think that's something cool that I want to talk about also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Where do we start?
I know.
There's
Where
so
do we
much.
start?
How did you start?
Well, I started many years before Base Body Babes, and I'd go as far as to say that kind of kicked me off because I didn't have what it took to explode on social media. Like a lot of people that are quite successful, there's a lot of smart people around, a lot of smart coaches, a lot of strong people that don't have big profiles.
What do you think is required to explode in social media?
Chicks.
I'd say
Did you
that's
say tits?
No,
No, well, chicks, but
I think he was just saying it
No, I'm
in the
kidding.
diplomatic way. But yeah, to be honest, to be blunt about
You
it.
have pretty
yeah.
nice tits.
Thank you. I agree.
Yeah, great.
But they're very different shape and size to girls' tits. And a lot larger audience would be attracted to the girls' tits and booties and
Okay.
looks.
But
actually.
hold on, before you say that, I think when we first started our Instagram page, it definitely wasn't based on that because we started
It never has been, but you can't deny that you girls don't look fantastic. And a lot of people are drawn to both of you girls by the way that you look. Like you can't deny that.
Thank you for the compliment.
But
Sebastian.
that's how it is. That's the reality of it. And that's what I kind of say. I bring the buff head factor and these girls bring the cool factor. So
I think you're so cool.
well, I am now. I am now. But before it's like it's just another strong guy. It's just another guy that lifts weights. Who really cares?
Okay, but let's paint a picture of how we all started. So
Well,
Sebastian and
how
I.
did you do personal training before the online
Yes.
business, or how did you
I've
get? When
been
did you get in the
personal-
industry?
I've been in the industry for 17 years.
Wow.
So I've been personally trained. Like I'm not a personal trainer anymore, but when I started, I was a PT, and that was my interim job. Actually, I was told by people there's no money in that industry, and it's like, damn, what am I going to do? You got to get into the building industry. That's where the money is. So my first job was actually in the building industry as a facilities manager, and I was made redundant from that job. And in the interim, I started studying all of the necessary courses to become a personal trainer just as a side hustle until I found my real job in the personal training, in the building industry, which is where the money was going to be. So technically this
Building
is
is
still
in architecture
whatever. I don't even know or
So
care
like
right
build
now.
a house.
Development.
Like build a house.
Anything building,
to make money. Sure.
property, commercial, residential, whatever it was. I was not good at that, luckily, because I was made redundant from my first job. And like I said, this is my interim job. I'm still trying to find my real job.
He's not really. We love this job.
That was 17 years later.
But we were together at the point at that time. So we've been together for this is our 18th year, husband and wife, my sister. People get this very confused. They're like, how does this I don't even want to say the word, work? But Sebastian and I have been together since I was 17.
Which made me 15.
I was
16.
19.
Come on, we're only 15 months
16.
apart.
True.
You try and act like you're so much younger than me.
God, yeah.
So Dinny and I used to train with Sebastian. So we've been training with him in the gym for years. I guess when I met Bass, I love telling this story. He was 60 kilos when I met him.
63.
63. All right. Give me some extra three. So I was just this 50-kilo chick, and he was 10 kilos heavier than me.
So she was
He
the same size as what she is now?
Now?
And I looked smaller because I was taller but skinnier.
He was
Right.
tiny, and then we went to the beach one day. You'd probably tell this story a little
Were
bit.
you
better.
food deprived or something?
No, he was.
By choice. I
was
just
just-
wasn't hungry.
He was just a
I
kid.
just didn't even think about that stuff. And until I met this hot chick.
And you were 18, 19?
He was.
19.
He was.
And
Yeah.
our first 19. Our first date was I turned 20
Just.
when we were together.
Yeah.
And my first date with her was on the beach, and I didn't want to take my t-shirt off.
I was embarrassed.
And she kind of said, and I was embarrassed, and she said to me, "Why don't you start training weights?" She was trying to be nice about it. Why don't you start? I kind of want my guy to have a little bit more muscle. It's like,
So superficial.
so I became a fanatic.
we actually started training together.
I wanted to impress this chick. And actually, my brother had a gym set up in his room, and I started trying to say, Cameron, I need you, man. That's my brother's name. And we started training every day together, and I became a fanatic. And literally in the first year, I put on 20 kilograms. So I got up to 80.
Did you do any sports or anything before?
He was a really great sports person.
Yeah,
Are you?
He's always been athletic.
Soccer. I was great at soccer at school, and a lot of martial arts
Sure.
that didn't need me to be big.
Yeah, because I didn't start training till I was 19 either, and I weighed like 78 kilos or something like that.
You were a skinny guy
now
too.
I'm 120,
Yeah,
know.
well,
So
they-
you gotta
Yeah.
say that first year you put on like 20 kilos, you're eating everything.
Newbie gains, and you're eating everything, and you don't get fat.
Right.
Yeah, you just build and build and build.
And then she liked you then at that point.
Then
Well, she liked me
I
before that.
liked him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she actually did like me before then. This is real, you know.
Yeah.
and that I became a fanatic. So a lot of this is just to impress this chick, really.
Right.
And then we started training, and then Dinny was already training.
Dinny was always training. You were
Yeah.
always into you had personal trainers. I remember Tiger was your PT.
Yeah.
So she
It's
liked
an issue.
training.
And you competed in the IPF for a while, didn't you?
I didn't compete.
You
Although
didn't?
no, I
Oh,
didn't.
I had it mixed up.
I trained up to compete and then decided
Not to.
against
Wasn't for you.
it. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, nonetheless, Bass became my coach. So we were training together.
Dinny and I were not in the industry at this
No.
point, and Bass had just studied to become a personal trainer. So he became a personal trainer and was training us. I actually studied interior design. So I've got a design background, a degree in design. And Dinny had a degree in early childhood education. And then we fell pregnant. I fell pregnant. I had the baby. He helped me. And then from there, after that, Dinah had studied to become a personal trainer.
Yeah,
And then
had
once
done-
we had Tiani.
Were you powerlifting at this point, or was it
Not
just
yet.
general training, general fitness?
The first book that I ever
Fitness.
read was the Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia. So that's how I was training to look good, to
Of
impress
course.
this girl.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was it. It was all about aesthetics. So nothing to do with.
He
so
started working in a really commercial gym called Fitness First. Do you have Fitness First here?
No, it's kind of like your Good Life. Oh, hold on, Good Life's Canadian.
yeah,
But
like LA Fitness
LA Fitness,
or-
something like that. Yeah. Really commercial gym. And then he got kicked
Strength-
out.
I didn't know strength. I didn't know strength training was a thing.
Sure.
You train weights to build muscle, or you do cardio to lose weight. That's all I knew back then.
When I started, that's how it was as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all it was, to impress these girls and continue your
Not
story.
you, just me.
I didn't want to impress Dinny. Not like that. Not like
So
that.
yeah, Sebastian was working at this commercial gym, just being a personal trainer, doing like 40 hours a week, like ridiculous hours as most personal trainers do. And I was having a baby, and then I had Tiani, and then about a year after having her, I got back into shape. I was training with Bass, and Dinah was teaching Tiani at her childcare center because she was working in the childcare industry. And we would kind of walk in, and I was probably in the best shape I've ever been in post-pregnancy,
and then
post-birth.
all the mums would walk in and be like, I want to look like your sister.
Like both of them. They,
Like
they
you,
both
too.
were training fanatics. They both looked great.
Anyway, so they all wanted to look like Felicia, but we decided to start an outdoor boot camp. So across the street from the childcare centre that I was working at, we decided to gather all the mums together, and we did this little outdoor boot camp, which
we called Super Mums in Training.
yes,
And I studied at that time to become a personal trainer as well, and we developed the business. So initially it started as Super Mums in Training. This was back in 2013, so we're going on to year 7 for us.
Yeah, and then-
for Base Body Babes.
we realised that everybody wanted all the mums, not non-mums, I should say, wanted to train with us as
So
well.
we changed it to Fix Chicks in Training.
Yes,
And then from there, someone tried to sue us because they already had that name.
A guy who was a fat guy
Yeah.
had a business name called Fit Chicks International.
Yeah.
That's right.
And threatened to sue them because
So
Same
then
name?
Base Body Babes was born. So we've been around for about 7 years. We are both personal trainers, so is Sebastian, and we own gyms in Sydney.
As this was happening, they'd opened an Instagram account and it had gone viral. They did a few like cute videos. I will use that word. It wasn't like nothing hugely impressive. It wasn't heavy lifts or anything. They'd squat, chin ups, and they looked amazing. And they'd do cute dances.
We called it the Fit Chick Shuffle.
the Fit Chick Shuffle.
We did a little
And-
dance.
and
You'd
back-
be really good at it, Steffi.
And for those who know, those who got into Instagram when it kind of was booming, it was very easy to go viral at that point. And these girls were growing like at one stage, they grew like 100,000 overnight.
yeah.
No, I think it was 40,000 one night, but yeah,
It
we
was
were
in-
growing really quickly.
And you guys had like 500,000 followers or something before
Yeah.
that, before
I
anyone had that,
think
right?
Back
Yeah.
when we started, we
Yeah.
kind of-
In Australia, anyway, of all of the big accounts in Australia, Base Body Babes were very well known.
we were definitely one of the first female fitness accounts.
and,
Yeah.
and,
back
and it
then.
was funny. We'd go to, like, I'd been in the industry for 10 years already. And we'd walk to the fitness expos and people would come up to me and say, "Can you please take a photo of me with your girls?" And it's like, so I was the Instagram husband. It's like, no problem.
Not
I know
so much anymore. We'll get to that point.
it's changed
It's changed.
a little bit. A little bit. We're all as
You're
cool
still
these
that?
days.
Yeah.
Hayden's
You're
still
still
that.
Right. And, I was doing that for many years. And it's just like, it's what it is. Cool. These girls are the cool chicks. Fine. I'm the only one that's been doing this for freaking ever. Cool.
But anyway, from there, we took our boot camps. No longer were we able to facilitate the amount of clients that we had in the park. We didn't want to do those, early mornings anymore. I was a new mum, and we were opening the gym. So we opened Base Gym. We were looking for a space in North Sydney. We opened that, and then we took our business online, and now we run all of our businesses online. We don't really train many people face to face. Dinah does. We have a studio called Base Body Studio where we train females only, and then Base Gym, which we run, is for men and women, but mainly just for Bas.
I wouldn't even call it men and women. It's not
for
even. It's not
anyone.
open to the public.
Yeah,
It's not for
now.
anyone.
Not
It's for
now.
no. It's for
For
no one.
Did it graduate to that, or was it
Yes.
first open to the public? Did you run group classes at any point when you
Yes.
first opened? You were still personal training at that time.
So-
You didn't have all the Instagram clout, so to speak.
No. Well, I did when we opened Base Gym.
Okay.
So before Base Gym, I had no following, no profile.
I had to
The girls
beg him
did.
to get onto Instagram. Literally, I was like, come on, Bas, I think it's really cool. I like taking photos. I've got a design background, and I thought it was awesome to be like doing this. And I was like, come on, you can do this. He's like, what would I post? I don't even know what to post.
I
And
thought
was
it
like,
was really dumb.
he thought it was really dumb.
It was. And then anyway.
Are you
so
powerlifting at this point now?
Yes.
Yes.
When we had Tiani.
Not a very good powerlifter, but yeah.
Okay.
And from then, I remember she was saying to me, "Are you on 400 followers yet?" It's like, no. And she's like, "Yeah, it only took me a month to get to 400." I'm like, anyway, but even still. So when we opened Base Gym, we all had I probably had about 10 or 20,000 followers at that time. The girls had 400 to 500,000 followers at that time. And we were open to the public. We opened the gym planning on having a members gym and making money off that. And our rent bills were a lot more than what my income was at the time. So I was like, how do we support this? So we had one income at the time, which is my personal training and the girls' personal training. It's like, okay, we need multiple streams of income. So it's like to support the bills that we had. So we opened a cafe as well. When we started doing online, we started doing education. It was like, damn, we need, our finger in every pie right now. So it really taught us, it put us in the deep end big time, but it really taught us a lot about business and how to make money. And so one way of making money was having a members gym, and the gym that we had, the size that we had, I don't know how you guys say it in feet, but it's 300 square meters. It's not very big. And we could only have, our capacity was about 60 members. And you can't make much money off membership fees with only 60 members. No. So it's like, okay, that's not enough. We need to do other things to provide income. And we got to a point where it's like, you know what? I've got to do the whole customer service thing to all of these people that aren't really giving me that much money. And they're just bending my Alico bars and ruining my stuff and walking in front of me when I want to train for the competition. And I'm really,
He's
and
really
the girls.
precious when he trains.
I am as well, but I'm the same with all.
So now he's the aggressive power lifter.
I'm not that aggressive. I have been, but I've
Just
piped
when he
it down
threw the
a
belt,
lot.
he's posted that a million times.
People quite like
Hey,
that.
Steffi's
people like
done
that.
it too.
You've thrown the belt?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. She's
Really?
broken shit.
Yeah, and it broke something.
Oh,
You
no.
broke the
We had
wrap roller.
automatic
Did
wrap
Did
roller.
Literally the
you?
only thing in the entire gym that could possibly have been broken by a belt.
Right.
You somehow
You got it.
smoked it dead on.
It was meant
Bullseye.
to be
Yeah.
broken.
Well, yeah. So then from there, we realized opening up this next gym that it wasn't
We
really
didn't want
going.
members.
Yeah, it wasn't really going to suit us to have a member-based gym. So our business is already online, and it's enough to keep us going.
So now it's mainly, so we ditched the cafe. It's basically, we have online, we have education, and that's and the studio as well. So that's the only face-to-face. Dinah loves the contact with people.
Yeah, I love that sense of
You've got a huge community.
We
You've
do.
got your girl
You're
gang.
really friendly.
Let's be clear. I'm not allowed in that gym
No.
because it's girls only.
That is right.
Yeah, these girls
That's
discriminate.
sorry.
sexist.
They
We
discriminate.
really
Sorry.
discriminate.
Yeah, that's very sexist.
Chicks only.
What if I made a male-only gym?
Yeah, that would be wrong.
I know.
On so many levels,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
No, look, in Sydney there are some of them.
Actually,
But
there are.
There are.
Yeah.
We're not allowed there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love the community of girls that we've got, and we want to keep that going. So we made sure of that. But the gym upstairs, the female only gym, is actually not open
Yes.
for general population just to come in and out like a commercial membership would be. It's classes only and PT only, so they can't just come whenever they want.
How did you decide to, or where did the idea of making it girls only come from, and how do you feel like that helps women get into strength training?
Well, it started because Felicia and I are sisters, and we started our Instagram page as just her and I, and because we were working, I was a teacher and I was working in the childcare industry, we had all the mums. So the initial phase of our kind of growth came from just the mums.
And I think for us, like training with Sebastian, we were really intimidated, like most women, to step on the gym floor. I guess I was like 17, 18, wanting to train, wanting to get in shape, wanting to get fit and strong, but had no idea where to start. And we were lucky enough to have someone who was starting to kind of study it or knew a little bit about it. But like Bass said, she had to employ a personal trainer because we didn't know where to start. So I guess when we started Base Body Babes, we really wanted something that was, could give the girls the tools that they need to be able to train themselves and to feel more confident to step onto the gym floor. Now it is obviously more popular and people are becoming more empowered and
Slowly,
it's getting there. But back when we started, it was literally you would never see a woman on the weights floor. Like you'd see one or two.
I even think like we tried to make it popular to have more chicks on the gym floor, and that was the whole idea of the collaboration with Australian Strength Coach with Base Body Babes. I thought, these girls are really going to popularize it for chicks and make them feel welcome in a gym floor with weights with other guys. And actually, that didn't happen the way that we
initially.
hoped.
Yeah,
there's still so many women that would not pay me. Sorry, they wouldn't train with me if I paid them. so for many reasons, like one, I'm intimidating. The whole lifting heavyweight thing, it is intimidating for a lot of women and some men as well. But there's other religious reasons as well, where women can't be in the presence of a male with, under certain circumstances with their hair out or whatever it is.
And then there's just chicks dig training with chicks.
Chicks dig training with chicks. So that's something I believe that just won't be changed. So there is a need in the market to have a female-only facility. So
we did
Base Body Studio.
Wow. I wanted to...
We have like 4 girls in our gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there you go.
But
They're
all
so
badasses.
badass. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're so badass.
That's
and
our weed
awesome.
out process. You have to be able to hang with the
the
powerlifting
guys.
dudes if you want to gym.
Yeah.
But
Can I just say what I saw today? So
Absolutely.
I squatted, and then I looked to the side of me, and then Stefis squatting 200 kilos for 3, and then
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
and
Like
then
I have no idea, and then I'm like, what?
and then another chick, hold my beer, squats 200 kilograms for 5. It's like, what is going on here? That doesn't happen in my gym. Like
That's amazing.
we got some strong chicks in our gym,
We
but
do.
that's none squatting 200.
Yeah,
We're not
that's
two of the best in the
insane.
world.
Yeah.
That's
Literally the best in the world. I don't mean to be rude or ignorant with this, with Danielle. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Daniela.
I'd never heard of her. It's like I see
Daniela.
this chick and it's like, hang on, you just squatted 200, like a couple of days ago, she squatted 220 kilograms
Amazing.
with sleeves. And I said,
Yeah. she's
so
amazing.
where does that put you in the world? And she said, I have been number 1. I just came
Really?
number 2. My last one just by, they drew, but she lost on Wilkes. It's like,
And
what?
she's the sweetest thing. That's
She's
amazing.
21.
Stop
And
it.
21.
21 years
21.
old.
That's
Crazy.
So
amazing.
anyway, back to you. I just wanted to, just for
But
No, no, it's
see, there
crazy.
you go. Why wouldn't women want to work out with weights? Like, what an achievement. That is amazing.
But that's intimidating.
It is
Yeah, it is.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Like,
A lot of people are intimidated by our gym.
Yeah.
No doubt.
We have that as well at our gym for sure. And that's why we opened the studio too, because a lot of people wouldn't come for Base Body Babes because they didn't want to be around Australian Strength Coach.
I'll
Or the
I'll
guys
tell
in
you
the
what,
gym.
we did a couple of years ago. We did a seminar, women's only seminar with Chrissy McCagney and Meg Squats, which they both have huge social media presence. Like Meg had
500K.
and 300
more.
YouTube 300K YouTube subscribers, and Chrissy has about over 1 million like cumulatively in all of her accounts. And we only had like 60 people show up.
not
Yeah.
even.
Can
It was
we-
less.
And it was free,
Less-
wasn't
it
it?
was
Was it
less.
free?
Less than 60.
And it was free.
It was free.
Yeah.
Let's touch.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
Bass, I think you explain this best.
About your seminars and your sellout rate for seminars.
Well, no, I was going to say,
Wow.
yeah, okay. Yeah, you go on.
Well, there's certain lifts. It really depends. So we talk about things that these girls tell me not to talk about, which is the appearance of a female compared to a male. So with mine in particular, various lifts, like so I've broken my seminars down into, squat day, deadlift day, and bench press day. And squat and deadlift is like a 50-50 ratio of men and women. And bench press, it's 90% male and
no
or more,
girls wanna
95.
come.
I get 2 chicks in the room.
What I was going to say was with social media followings and our following in particular is the split between men and women.
So you're women?
although people might have millions of followers, we've got over 600,000 followers, but 78% of them are women.
Yeah.
That might not
And-
necessarily be the case.
And 75% of mine are men.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
What
women.
is your split?
32% women.
32%.
Much
So-
higher percent
See,
man.
boys
So
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah.
my point is that if we were to promote a women's only seminar right now, we've got our audience is 78% versus
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
33%.
See, because it is
but
intimidating.
that's not a bad thing.
No.
Like
It's not at all. It's just
No, because
like
you'll
who
sell
we're
out
ta-
dudes seminars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The boys will come.
Well, I mean, anyone can be intimidating. Men can be intimidating too. I remember when I first started training, 19 years old, I weighed less than 80 kilos. I walk into the first gym I'm training at, and they had an Olympic weightlifting club, and the girls, I couldn't barely squat 80 kilos. And there was girls squatting 100, 120 kilos. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Can I just say
I'm
that
never going to do more than these girls. What's going on?
It's crazy,
you know?
right?
So,
when we first started, like obviously we developed our brands together and Sebastian was a trainer first and then we started our brand and we wanted to post him. We're proud of him. He's so smart. We love him. It's my husband. And we would post a photo of the three of us and
then we'd lose all
literally
these
we
followers.
would lose followers. Like people would unfollow us because we're posting him. Like we had a very strong girl power kind of
Community.
audience.
Yeah.
Then he posts
And-
the same photo and gets
And he gets followers.
ton of followers.
Yeah, the ones that my most popular posts that I would make had the girls in it. So I'd use the girls to boost my following.
Yeah, but for good reason. Like you were getting Dinny J, so let's just break this one down. He trains my sister, but he won't train me. I don't know about you guys, but you guys train together.
they do. They're one of the few people that I've met that can balance
actually-
that.
Few people.
Few
Yeah.
people.
I can't.
Exactly.
I can't.
You
coach
can
my
relate.
wife.
Yeah,
No,
so there
no,
you
it's
go.
difficult. It's
So
difficult.
Dinny J is super strong, and she's been so strong over the years because she is so fortunate as to have him as her coach, whereas he won't really coach me anymore. And so you were posting a lot of great videos.
Don't make
with
me
Dinny.
sound like a bad person.
No, I know.
It's
It's
difficult.
Just,
You know,
it's
when-
for the sake of the marriage.
When a guy tells a girl, corrects her technique, like his wife, she's like, who are you to tell me what to do? It's like, I'm
Correct.
not telling you what to
Really?
do.
Why?
You guys are like the only people that I've met
Yeah,
that
look,
are
I
able to do
haven't
it.
met
I
very
coach
many.
Hayden.
Yep.
Well, can I
maybe
say-
that's why it works.
No,
If
he
she
coached
coached
me.
I would
Yeah,
love
even
to coach you. Let me
before-
coach
He's coached
you.
We helped you more first
Yeah.
before you started coaching.
Can you
him,
let
man?
me coach you? That will be like a good easy in.
Oh my god.
See, that's the problem.
You let
That's
Dinny
the problem.
coach you the other day.
Listen,
she coached you the
I
other
just
day.
picked his numbers.
But she's not.
she
I'm
lives more
sorry,
than
but
you.
you're not the best power lifter in the world.
Listen here,
Alexander,
How do you know
do
what
not
I'm
give shit
capable
to my
of?
sister.
Oh, man.
I'm sitting right beside you.
The feminist's gonna attack me now.
No, but
Yes.
honestly, maybe that's part of it. Is she just so undeniably, like, just statistics show how well you know what you're talking about and how good you are at powerlifting. Or it's like, I'd be an asshole not to listen to what you have to say.
That's true.
You know
You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
So like,
It's a funny thing, like to have someone tell you what to do. You need they need to have a quality that you look up to, and that's quite hard actually. So it's like men to approach females to personally train them. It doesn't exist hugely. Like I'd come to Steffi to train me, but she's got something that I look up to massively. But there's not many other women that would do that.
Not me.
Same with these chicks.
Yeah.
Like not many men come to them to ask.
It's
to-
funny. That
We don't want
actually,
them.
when we started, I had a few male PT clients, and Bass was always like, "I don't understand why they want
I
to
do
train
understand.
But you
you."
were
I do
strong. Well, you were
understand.
stronger than her. Oh yeah, because you're hot. That's right. No, but actually, she
Come
was
on.
stronger than most
We're meant to keep
of the
this
male.
PG.
Dinah was stronger than her male clients when she was
She
training
was.
them. So they obviously did look up to you. And
Sure.
if you, this little 50-kilo chick, can be lifting double, was it almost
Triple.
triple body weight, and they wanted to do that, like why wouldn't they come to you to train? But we don't want men anymore.
No,
You go to him.
Girls
Go to a
sorry,
strength
boys.
coach.
When was it that you started gearing towards strength and powerlifting?
So interestingly, the first sport that I played whilst I was training with weights was martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and kickboxing. And I realized that I was never going to really make much money out of martial arts. So I thought, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I want to be successful in my career somehow.
This one's not for us.
And I had a better chance. I was already making money with getting people strong. So because I was a martial artist, I knew a lot of professional martial artists. And I approached them and asked them if I could coach them for their next fights. So my first athletes were actually MMA fighters. That was my first professional athletes. And then from there, I became the guy that was training the pros. There was not many people training professional athletes.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, cool. Now I've got this reputation as the guy who trains the pros. I've got to be good at my job. How can I be as strong as possible? One way is to quit martial arts. So I quit martial arts and just purely focused on strength work. And in my opinion, still the best ways to get strong is the simple barbell movements. Squat, bench press, and deadlift. And it just so happens that there's a sport that involves those three lifts, and that's powerlifting. So I didn't really want to be a powerlifter per se. I just wanted to be strong so that I could coach professional athletes. And that was the best way to do it. So I've offended Steffi before by saying powerlifting is easy. The reason why I say that is because you're using those exercises regardless of whatever sport you play. You don't have to be a powerlifter to squat, bench press, and deadlift. You just have to want to be strong, and they're amazing tools to be able to achieve that goal. So the more I focused on the goal of getting strong, the better I got at squat, bench press, deadlift, to the point where I became a good power lifter. So that was 9 years ago. It was when my daughter was born.
2010, 2011.
It was when my daughter was born, was my first competition. She was a baby. She came to my powerlifting competition. She's 10 years old next month. So for the first 10 years of my weight training career, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque training. After that, it was training barbell movements to get strong so that I could teach professional fighters how to be strong in the cage or in the ring. And then I just became a power. It was just a progression that I didn't actually mean, but I still believe in those movements now. And that's how I train all of my athletes. So a lot of people look at me as a powerlifter and they ask me the question, do you train, fighters or other sports? It's like, well, yes. Most of my athletes are actually from other sports besides powerlifting. And I actually use a very similar philosophy to my powerlifting that I would for my fighters or rugby players. And that is, use the simple barbell movements to get the body strong. And I don't want to go into too much depth with all the rest of my philosophies with achieving structural balance in the whole body. So my powerlifters actually don't really train like powerlifters either. They train their whole body to be strong. It's kind of about, having no weaknesses and being balanced and having no injuries and moving well. And you use that body and you give them to their fighting coach and let them teach them how to fight. You give them to the rugby coach and let them teach them how to play rugby. I don't teach them how to play their sport. I just get them strong and injury-free and moving well. And it's the same philosophy for all of my athletes. Yeah. So I could go into depth with that, but
and he's been powerlifting ever since.
But that's the thing.
We can talk more about that. We share the same philosophy as far as the role that strength training plays in athletic development. The way I think about it is strength should always be the backbone of every single training program, because although people think that it doesn't apply specifically to a sport, but the thing is that strength is a general adaptation that then you can utilize in specific tasks. Like you said, you get stronger, but your role is not to make someone a better fighter. Your role is to make someone stronger so that then they could have a resilient body that can perform better in the ring, right? So
move well through all range of motion and be injury free, and then let the skills coach teach them how to perform that skill.
Exactly.
How did training those guys sort of snowball into training Thor? I know I wanted to obviously take it here, and I don't know if the listeners necessarily know that you are his coach, but you are Thor.
I am
the Mountain
from Game of Thrones.
Crazy.
You're his coach, and it's such an interesting thing because you're not a strongman, and he is a strongman.
Yeah.
How did you guys even meet or talk, or how did that all go down?
Lucky for me, Thor, for those who have been following, Thor was very just genetically gifted. He's 6'9", currently weighs about 200 kilograms or 440 pounds. He's genetically a beast. And he was actually just the best at all of the kind of the moving events that are typical to strongman. So like Atlas stones, his height allowed him to pick up stones to a higher height a lot easier than the shorter guys. Weight over bar, so throwing, keg toss, throwing it over a bar, his height allows him to get to a greater height. Pulling aeroplanes and pulling trucks, he's just better than anyone in the world. in the world, I should say. And his weaknesses were the static movements. So in 2016, so this is where Base Body Babes and Australian Strength Coach collaboration helps so much. SodaStream contacted Base Body Babes and said that Hafþór Björnsson was going to come to Sydney to do an event to promote SodaStream products. And they wanted to get industry influencers, such as Base Body Babes and other people with followers like that, and do a group event where everyone would take a photograph with Hafþór and post them on their page, and SodaStream will get great exposure. And I said to Dinny came up to me in the middle of a bench press session. I said, and she said, Hafþór Björnsson's got a session. They invited us to the session. I said, get me in that room. I want to train with Thor. And people know him as the Mountain from Game of Thrones. I've never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. It's pretty bad on my behalf.
That's messed up.
But he doesn't care. He
Watch
loves
a
us.
highlight reel of him.
I've seen the two big fight scenes, the crushing skull and the one where he gets stabbed
He
in the
showed
face.
us on his phone at home.
Yeah. But that's all. But I knew him as the world's strongest man, or someone who had the potential to be the world's strongest man. I'm like, damn, this guy's just a god. I want to be in the room and I want to train with this guy. Anyway, the girls did their magic. This is what they do. And an hour later, I got a phone call from SodaStream, or their PR agency, asking me to host the event. And I thought, okay. Felicia is in the background saying, don't you dare do this for free. And I'm like, don't you dare ruin this opportunity for me. Like, are you serious? I would pay this guy to host the event. Are you serious? Long story short, they did their thing and I'm getting paid to run the event side by side with Hafþór. So we're doing a seminar to all of the industry influencers, which is people like Base Body Babes and other people with social media following. Anyhow, so SodaStream PR agency, they said to me, there's language barriers with Hafþór. He doesn't speak English very well. So you're probably going to have to do a lot of the talking. I said, that's fine. This is what I do. Just get him to me. I got this, I'm going to show him my gym and all of the, the Elite Coast stuff that speaks his language. Just trust me. I got this. So he walked in the room,
like this.
And everyone's just looking up. You don't have to know who he is to just look at that guy and think there's something special about this guy. And he walked in the room and I've just, went and said hello to him. He was very quiet, very reserved guy. He still is. There's actually no language barriers, actually. He's just very reserved and he's very careful with who he speaks with. And so I said to him, he knew that we were going to do the event together. And I said, can I show you around the gym? I want to just let you know what I've got in store for today. So walked around. I showed him the exercise that I'd planned on doing. And he saw that I knew what I was talking about. Anyway, so we're in this session where we're teaching everyone the basic lifts and we got to the bench press. And I was talking about the bench press and Hafþór, I'm just getting a bit out of order. I asked the audience, okay, guys, Hafþór, what's your best bench press? And he said, 230 kilograms. I said, all right, guys, just to paint a picture for you, that's 5 blue plates and a little 5 on each side. Hands up in the room, who can do that? No one put their hands up.
Crickets.
And they're all kind of laughing. And then Felicia in the background says, you can.
Proud wife.
And I'm like, I didn't mean it to go there,
It's like,
and I didn't want to, this guy's so much stronger than me. It's a specific event that I train with.
Sure.
I didn't mean it that way. And all of a sudden I see him in my peripheral vision. He's just turned his head and he's looking at me. I'm like, I don't want to be rude here. Anyway, next minute, Thor puts his hand up and he says, can I try the technique? I'm like, sure. Long story short, his bench press was 230 kilograms. With my arch and the setup, he did 235 for a double and then 240 for a single. It's
On that same day.
Yeah, on that same day.
Wow.
With the new technique that he just learned. He's, in all fairness, he doesn't train the bench press that much. So
Sure.
it was probably something that he'd done a year ago and he just hadn't tried it. But he obviously saw something that he needed in his training, which was the ability to move barbells. That was his weak point. He doesn't have weak points technically, but it's just compared to all of his other movements, it was his weak point. Next day, we all had lunch, we all hung out, and he asked me to be his coach.
I cried.
And I'm like,
Legit cried.
yeah. And it's like, I don't know how you'd handle that. If it's like, that's in my career, in my industry, it's like, you're a strength coach. Do you want to train the strongest man on the planet? It's like how does it get better?
Please.
And it's like, I didn't know what to say. do I play it down? Oh, I'll see if I have time.
I'll get my rates over to you.
Right. And I just said, I'm just going to cut the shit. Either he's going to do it or not. And I just said, listen, man, like this is the best opportunity of my life. Yes, I will coach you, like whatever you want, my man. And he said, would you travel around the world for me? And I'm like, for you? Yeah. Let's do it. Anyway, after all of that, like a week later, I didn't hear from him. I sent him a message. Hey, man, what's been happening? Haven't heard from you. No reply. It's like, okay. A month later, I sent him another message. No reply. I thought, you know what? Damn, I knew it was too good to be true. And Felicia said to me, you're going to look like the biggest loser if you message him again. Like, just stop right now. Like, you're looking like you're desperate. A week later, we walked into our gym and there was a blackout. All the electricity had shut down. And I was just laying there, just picked up my phone and I just went, you know what? The answer's already no. So screw it. I sent him a message. Hey, man, what's happening? I haven't heard from you. And he replied. I'm like,
Yes.
Look, there's nothing wrong with triple texting.
there is nothing wrong with
All
it.
right,
No, it's a little
I'm all
aggressive.
for it.
No.
It's a little aggressive.
Alex, you're married.
If you want something, you gotta go for it.
That's right. And I did. And it's
don't
like,
care.
let this be a lesson to all of us. Like, I went for it and it looked like
Maybe the timing just wasn't right with those
Exactly.
other messages.
He was
it
traveling.
wasn't.
And someone popular always, the messages just pile up and you
For sure.
forget. You maybe
Yeah.
open and
Oh, I
forget to reply.
quadruple text.
Like you
Steffi.
said.
Yeah, like you. We all text you
Yeah,
a million times.
I'm too popular. We're not
we,
anything.
we all can relate with
I'm
Steffi.
still waiting for Steffi to write back from August last year.
You know what I do sometimes? I'm face to face with someone and I'm like, oh shit, forgot to reply to that text message. And while I'm face to face with the person, I reply. It's like, yes.
Okay, so can you
Well,
sit
can
there
do that
now
me
and do it to
reply
all of
mine.
us?
Exactly.
She'll be here a while.
But anyway, so that was 2016, and the first part of work that I did with him, he flew me over to Bangkok, where he was shooting the film Kickboxer. Do you remember that old Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Kickboxer? That was like sick. So they did a remake of it where a new cast were doing a new movie, Kickboxer, and he's the bad guy. And he needed to train for the World's Strongest Man while he was casting for this film Kickboxer. So he's flown me over, and I bring my family everywhere I go. He's flown me over to Bangkok, and we were training on the days that he wasn't working. And the days that he was working, I've got a fork and food, and I'm feeding him while he's on set. So a lot of people think that, training the world's strongest man is this big glamorous thing. Like, that's what I was doing as his coach. Every time they do a take, it's like cut. I'd run onto the thing with a fork and shoving it in his face.
sweet.
Like, imagine,
Felicia, were you doing the cooking?
A fork?
At that point, I wasn't cooking
No, you
in
weren't. We had
Thailand
chefs.
because we didn't. I had to
Everywhere
organize
we-
all the chefs.
everywhere we go with Hafþór, he's very organized. He's the most dedicated athlete I've ever met. He has chefs all done. It's like multiple meals, like so much food you can't even fathom how much food this guy eats. And
But you keep him accountable like that. That's like
I
what
don't need- no,
separates.
look.
You're not just giving him numbers in a spreadsheet. You're
look,
staying on top of
I'll be
He's
honest
so
with you.
dedicated, that guy.
I'd love to claim that I don't need to keep him accountable.
No.
Like, he keeps me accountable.
He does.
Like, when I'm competing, he's like, okay. Like, when I do my weigh-in, he's like, okay, show me your hydration that you've got ready to make weight back up. It's like, oh, hey, dude, like, I've got this, man. He's like, show me a photograph of your sodium. Show me a photograph of your potassium. Show me a photograph of every single meal. So I'm like, because he's in Iceland, I'm in Sydney, and I'm like, damn, the world's strongest man is holding me accountable. I'm meant to be his coach. It's
That's
like,
sick.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And anyhow, so I don't need to with him. He is dedicated, the pinnacle of
He's-
dedication.
yeah, the hardest worker and the most dedicated person. He does not switch off from it. Like, unbelievable.
There's people look at him and say it's just genetic freak. He's
No
bigger
way.
and stronger than everyone. It's not. He works harder than everyone.
Yeah.
What do you guys talk about before a competition? What's the conversation go like?
I'll tell you some things that happen just before a competition. He's got motivational tapes playing in the background. We're sitting there. There's a whole team of us that want it so bad for him. Like, he's got so many people around him that just love him so much. His friends, his team, his family.
It's unlike anything. When we went to World's Strongest Man, it's like there's other
like
guys
30, 40
have a
of
couple
us.
people. It's half of the crowd is his people.
And they
You've seen
all
it.
travel
It's
from
insane.
Iceland.
Yeah.
But there's always about 30 or 40 of us in the team, and it's like they're all there for him.
Crazy energy.
They want it
Yeah.
more than he does. Like, they're so sweet.
the mindset to be the best in the world, Steffi, you're someone in the room that knows about this, but it's something that I don't. I do now since working with Hafþór, but the mindset is just crazy. Imagine being the best on the planet, no one stronger than you. That's him. And it's like, how do you get your head around this? He's not up against any punks. There's Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, Matthias Kiliuszkowski, Martins Lisi. Like, these guys are freaks, and he's better than them.
He's actually quite calm before he competes. He's so focused.
Does he ever have doubts? Does he ever have doubts about winning?
No.
He always thinks he's going to win?
I'll tell you something. It really, like, it's, for me, it really, it boosts my adrenaline so much thinking about what he does. So he tore his plantar fascia off his left foot in the qualifiers. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Yeah, you guys were there.
So carrying a yoke, they've misloaded it. They put over 500 kilograms on it. It was meant to be a little bit less. Whatever it was, the other guys had to do it as well. So no excuses. But anyway, it was an injury and it tore his plantar fascia. He had to limp off. He couldn't put his body weight. So if anyone knows who's listening to this out there, who's heard of what it feels or felt what it feels like to tear the plantar fascia off your foot, like the recommendation is to not bear load on your foot, so don't step on it. He had to go and squat 340 kilograms for reps the next day. He had to do the whole world's strongest man. So that night we went to get the MRI to make sure we knew exactly what it was. And the recommendation from the physiotherapist was all of the muscles are intact, and actually the treatment for extreme plantar fasciitis is actually to cut it off.
And he said,
so it holds the arch of the foot, it holds structure in the foot, but it's beyond that, it's not functional with all of his strength movements. So he's still able to perform the strength movements if he can handle the pain. That night he's limping out, and he's sitting there limping out. We're talking, and he's like, "I don't give an F. I'm winning the world's strongest man." And I'm like,
I get goosebumps thinking about this.
I want to cry. Like, anyway, that night we went out with you guys. We went for dinner, and we got home late. And I opened up my Instagram and I saw a post that he put out there saying, "Attention to all my fellow competitors." Like, he's addressing the strongest people on the planet. I have an injury, but pretty much like, don't go easy on me. I've come for one reason, and I'm gonna get it. Bring your best game. And it's like, whoa, like, damn, like, this guy is the real deal. You know, I went home. It's like, that was
our all of us. I remember sitting in the room going, we opened it going, what?
It's just phenomenal. You know, after all this talk, he ended up coming third. He came third pretty much on one leg. It was pretty phenomenal. Unfortunately, he had that injury. I don't want to use that as an excuse or take anything away from the people that beat him, because they're also amazing athletes. But prior to that, he hasn't lost a single event at the highest level since 2017 World's Strongest Man, when Eddie Hall came first. After that, he's like, I'm not having this anymore. Head and shoulders above the rest. Next competition that we're training for is the Arnold's, and that's the second weekend of March. It's like the 5th, 6th, 7th.
Yeah.
Whatever that weekend.
Yeah, well, we're there.
You going?
So,
Yeah, we go every year. Yeah.
Go and speak to him. He'll remember you guys.
Yeah.
He'll remember you guys, and he knows you,
yeah.
Steffi. Go and speak to him. But he's winning the Arnold's 2020, and it's going to be sick.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was with this. I kind of go off on tangents, but
Well,
It
just
was just
how
the
you ended up being his
mindset, how
coach
he was-
and
No, I was asking about
the-
mindset.
The mindset and the conversation. It's bulletproof, his mindset.
Yeah.
So let's talk about one of the events in the Arnold's, Circus Dumbbell. Not sure who knows what the world record is, but I'm going to tell you, it's 150 kilograms, and one man has ever achieved that. And prior to that, the previous world record was 140 kilograms. In the Arnold's, one of the events is to perform Circus Dumbbell 150 kilograms for max reps.
The world record.
The world record, you got to go and do that for max reps.
Right. And that's this year.
Yeah, that's this year.
Okay, so it's never been done. It's never been done before at that event.
One person.
One
has
person
done-
did it one time.
Oh, it's always
One
an
time.
event, but no one ever hits it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, Steffi, what's the world record deadlift that you own? 240 kilograms. Get all the 60 kilo chicks out there and say, okay, so now
Rep it.
240, you got to rep it. The winner wins. It's like, anyway, he doesn't even question it. He's like, so now we've got to do this. So watch what he's doing with his circus dumbbell. Like, a lot of people can't relate to one dumbbell overhead. Unfortunately, it's one of those, like a 501 kilogram deadlift. Everyone knows that, and everyone knows what half a ton means. But, you know, one hand, 150 kilograms, people can't really relate too much. But when you think of it that way, it's the world record. No one's ever done it, and now he's got to go and do it for reps. And it's like, it's not even a question to him. It's like, cool, we're going to go and do this for reps now. No one else is going to be able to do it for one, but I'm going to do it. It's like he just performed a PB in the gym, which was 129 kilograms, like last week, easily, and we're working him to be able to do 150. Like, watch this space. He's going to do it, you know. Various events that are his weak points. So at the World's Strongest Man last year, grip has historically been a weak point for Hafþór. And when they showed us there was going to be a grip event, we had a look at the list, and it's like, these guys want me to lose. They've put grip events in there. Okay, let's train it. He doesn't see it as a bad thing.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
He's like, let's train grip.
The dogs.
He ended up coming first in that event. Like this was like seemingly, if you want to act like a victim, and it's like, they're targeting us. They want to use an event that we're not good at to challenge us. He's not, being a victim. He's like, let's go and win it. And he did.
No, he makes no excuses.
And like the mindset of this guy, I learned so much from him. It really makes my adrenaline go through the roof. Like when I saw that post that I was telling you about how he challenged every single of one of the
you could
his
not
competitors.
sleep.
I couldn't sleep. It was like, damn, my cortisol's up here now.
What's the frequency of his main lifts?
He trains 4 days a week, so it's very similar to the way that I train most of my high-end male heavyweight athletes. 4 sessions a week, 1 day squat, 1 day deadlift, 2 days of pressing, and then all of the accessories around that. So we talk about a squat. It's not really a strongman event, but yoke is, and we put yoke on squat day. There's another one. We're practicing with a sled push, but it's called the Wheel of Pain. It's a new event at the Arnold's, but that's we programmed that on squat day.
Didn't a bunch of people get injured at the Arnold last year?
Thor did. Yeah, and he moved on to win it. The whole of the Arnold. He came second in that event. He had to get taken off with oxygen masks and everything like that. He ended up winning the Arnold's, but yeah, it was. They're all brutal events. Like, to be honest with you, the Arnolds, they're going to break people, man. It's like, let's get all these events.
Harder than World's Strongest Man, yeah?
It's heavier. So historically, the Arnold's is known as the heavier lifts, and the World's Strongest Man is known as more moving events, more kind of endurance is involved.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a back and forth argument with who's a stronger athlete, the winner of the World's Strongest Man or the winner of the Arnold's. And a lot of it's always a debate. It's no debate if you win them both. Mm-hmm. So that's always our goal, to win them both and win every single competition that Hafþór goes in. They're going to do an event that's just going to break people, and it's not actually fair the way they treat these athletes, but that's what gets the views.
Makes for a good show.
It makes for a good show. But
what happens?
Like last year they had yoke event, and same thing. It's like they're doing a 1,500-pound yoke. The world record was less than that. And it's like they're making all of the top 10 athletes perform a world record. Only one person's done this before, and they're making everyone do it. Like, this is going to break people. And actually, Zydrunas Savickas, pulled out of the event because he injured himself training for the yoke because it's just too damn heavy.
You know what's crazy though? The human mind, just like that was more than the world record. No one's done it, but because they had no choice. The number of guys did it, right?
Exactly. And that's
nuts.
Something that I'm still not there. Like, I'm not that good because my mind isn't as strong as these people. Like, people think that mindset, that mindset is so underrated. I'm training myself. Like, I've spoken to people to teach me how to meditate on these things. I don't know if that's a technique that you guys do. That's something that he does. And I've tried to do it. I'm still not there yet.
You're learning.
It's tough. It's hard.
I think, look, like anything, anytime that you want to get better at something, you should hire someone that knows more than you about it. And mindset, I think it's no different. Mm-hmm. I think hiring someone like a sports psychologist is an incredible tool. I worked with one for over a year. His name's Patrick Alban. He actually does online sessions, and he's amazing. I learned so much, and I was able to apply so much of that into my training and competition.
No doubt about it, and it probably helped a lot.
So much,
accepting that you can do something. You're so limited by your self-belief, and a lot of people, I've seen it. And I was actually having a chat with Marcus today. We were squatting together, and he's a heavy guy. He's one of the heaviest guys here. I think there's another bigger guy than him now, but it's like, what's it like being one of the strongest guys in the gym? People always say if you're the strongest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Mm-hmm. And I see pros and cons to that. If you're always the weakest guy in the room, sometimes I've seen where people have just accepted that then it's never going to be better. They're just always going to be the weaker guy, and they just never win because of that. They've got the mindset of they're always second or they're always third or whatever, and they just accept that. So it's a hard thing. It's something that I'm still getting my head around, and like how you say with your sports psychologist, whoever his name was.
Patrick, it does depend on the person. Remember, we were listening to a podcast about going to Ivy League schools, And they were saying that if you're in the bottom percentile of your class at Harvard, like if you're doing any sort of STEM degree, you're 30% more likely to drop out and not complete your program. And still, you're extremely smart. You're in Harvard and getting a STEM degree. Just getting in was really hard. You were likely at the top of your high school class, right? But you're at the bottom of this program because it's the best of the best. And so these people end up not graduating. But if you put these people in a non-Ivy League school in the same degree that is maybe this as rigorous as getting a degree in Harvard, they succeed. But it's related to how they are perceived
next to everyone else.
Yep. So I think you can say the same about training. Like
Absolutely.
You have a 30% higher chance to not deciding to pursue your training goals if you're just the worst where you are.
Well, and I think it's also a matter of practice, right? Like if you compete in powerlifting, you've done your 10,000 hours. You come in and you train every day, and most people get that part down. And then only once people get to a certain point where they've kind of got the training part handled, that's usually when they start looking for that competitive edge, and they start the mental part of training when they're way deep already into their careers. Like you, for example, right? Like you had broken a number of world records. You sort of hit a wall, and you realized to take it to the next level was like figuring out the mental aspect of training, and only then you took that step. So it's like you just have way less practice with everything mental, visualization, meditation, all that stuff.
It's all crucial. At the top of the game, it's like, we're talking like everyone here's, fighting. I know everyone in this room wants that level of greatness, but not everyone that's listening. I know that there's such a huge audience out there that's just in their wildest dreams. So it's just like, let's not even think about it. But the techniques that we teach, like we talk about mindset. It's like, I'm 38 years old. I was a very average person when I started. When I say average, I actually should say below average. I was 63 kilo skinny guy. And people look at me and they say, oh, you're like, I won't be as strong as you. And it's like, damn, man. Like,
I don't know how hard he's had to work to get here.
How old are you? How old were you when you achieved your first 200 kilogram squat? And they're like, 19, 20. I'm like, okay, well, I was 29. Okay, so you're better than me already. Looking at me like I'm better than you. Stop that. I'm like I told you, I was very average. I was below average, man. Like when I first started bench pressing, I did 30 kilograms for 8.
Same.
I wanted it.
30? I couldn't even bench 50. I couldn't even bench 50. I remember missing.
You guys were
45
noodles.
kilos. Yeah. We're missing a 25-pound plate on each side.
We all got to start somewhere.
You do have to start somewhere. And that's the thing. It's like people's mindsets is what's holding them back. A lot of people will listen to this podcast, listen to us talking, like we're talking to you, Steffi, you're at the top of your game. Like mindset is a huge thing. I don't even know that about you because I haven't asked you about that. But I just know that it's something that you've had to get your head around. And I know it's still a battle. Like with Hafþór, I know it's still a battle as well.
It's for everyone, I think. Anyone at the high level, you are always struggling with your own thoughts.
No doubt.
Your own beliefs of yourself, and how do you get through that, right? Because you have to.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, it's the willingness to work hard. A lot of people just give up too soon.
They want that out sometimes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sometimes they're just looking for that
like
excuse, that injury, that something that's kind of going to get in the way of it all. But yeah, I think to be the best, you guys, I'm not the best in the world at anything, but I'm married
You're
to
the
someone.
best wife in the world.
I am. Okay, I'll take it. I'm the best wife in the world. Yeah, you got to work hard. And you've got,
Until I
you've
become
got
a wife, then you'll be
Why am I always second to you? We're meant to be friends.
Just the way it is.
All right, I'll take it. Just because I love you.
That's a Latina in her.
She's so competitive. The feistiness.
So like on that exact note, I've spoken to Hafþór about members of my team who I believe have huge potential. And I've asked these guys before, like what's holding you back? And I've actually had one of my athletes who I believe is destined for greatness, but their minds are holding them back. And I've said, what's happening here? And the consensus was that they were scared to be the best. It's like, okay, I've never really thought of myself to be the best. I'm statistically, objectively, I'm just not. And so it's like, okay, that's that, but I'm not fighting to be the best like these guys are. And I said to Hafþór, were you ever scared to be the best? And he's like, no. What do you mean? What do you mean? And he was kind of like quite aggressive with this topic. He was like quite passionate about this. And I said, well, one of my high level athletes has basically just said that. Like, I think he's got so much potential to be the best. And he's like, you know why? He's too effing scared to do what it takes to be the best. That's why. He's a lazy mother effer. He didn't know this person.
Wow.
He didn't know this person. I'm like,
takes a lot of work.
you know what? You're right. He's like, he's scared to do what it takes to be the best.
I think even harder than being the best is staying the best.
No doubt.
One thing that scared me was once I achieved the top and I was about to compete again, I felt scared to
So much
being
pressure.
held to such a high standard by
Yeah.
so many people.
Well, and everyone's waiting for you to make a mistake and
The
slip
expectations
up.
Exactly.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that is
So-
hard. It's a lot of pressure.
That's the hard part. Getting there is easy. Staying there is hard.
really.
What's the 4-minute
Yeah.
mile thing? You're setting the standard. You're raising the ceiling, and then people are seeing what's possible. And it does make it easier for the next person to do it. But for someone like you, no one's done it before. How do I know how good I can be? That's a big fight for you.
And also, in strength sports, it can be so variable. It can be, there's no guarantee that you'll be able to improve your marks on the upcoming competition. There's no guarantees that you'll be able to show your full potential on a platform. So there's just so much uncertainty behind competing and being able to truly show what you've been working on. That's a scary part for me.
It's interesting because, like, I know you more from the outside as well than the inside. Like, I've hung out with you for a week in Sydney and now a week here in Miami, but I know you more through social media. And what you see on the outside, I'm not pinpointing you, but I just know so many people in the social media game. Like, we've been very lucky enough to meet through the girls as well. So many, big names and faces and influencers through social media and people that have, seemingly perfect lives on the outside. And then you meet them and it's like, very different,
You're a regular person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people would look at you, Steffi, and go like, this chick's got it going on. Like, she's got everything going for her. It's just easy for her. She can just come in and break a world record. But no one sees how much goes behind it.
Yeah. No,
she broke so many of her world records when she was still in school.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and a couple of days ago, you walked into the office with me crying. Obviously, yeah, those are things that I don't share, mainly because I'm not trying to victimize myself. I don't want to draw negative attention towards myself.
Especially just being in the spotlight, you're going to have that negative response from some people,
But at
which is not
the
nice.
same time, the part of being human, right? Like, people only see the highlights of your life, and they think that everything always goes well for you. You're always improving in training. You're always getting stronger. You're not suffering. Nothing bad's happening in your life. So I don't know. Sometimes I don't know where to draw a line and how to show that I'm a real human that has all those struggles without making it seem like I'm trying to excuse myself for a performance or make myself look like a victim in other people's eyes, or even like be perceived as a negative person.
Yeah,
right.
it's hard.
It's hard.
Just be you, boo.
Just be me.
That's what you do.
That's the thing.
That's what I do.
It's all made up now. Like, social media is so new,
Yeah.
and you are paving the way on how to behave as well as a champion. Like, how are you supposed to behave? I've seen. I'll use an example. Phil Heath, he just won Mr. Olympia. I forget how many times, whatever it was, to draw with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I watched him go live on Instagram straight after. And he's on there saying, I think it was like 6 times or 7 times, I forget the number. And he was he had an Arnold Schwarzenegger t-shirt on. And, he was celebrating on IG Live. And then someone said to him, pregnant belly.
Oh, I saw this.
And he jumped at it. He's like, oh, pregnant belly, huh? And it's like, hey, why are you addressing the haters? You just won Mr. Olympia. Like, this is the pinnacle of what you do, man. Like, go and celebrate.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, this is all made up. Like,
Your pregnant belly helped you win.
dude,
You did
just go
something
past
right.
that, man.
Yeah.
You got to ignore that.
Yeah.
And
Because everyone started talking about how he went off on that guy instead of the fact that he had just done what he did.
But it's
Just
so
ignore it.
hard. Like, he's the best in the world, and you just don't know how you're going to react, whether it's good or bad, coming from your audience. Like, it's hard. Like, you're faced with so many different things. With us, like, we're lucky we don't have many negative people commenting on our posts.
And
but we spend a lot of time being diplomatic with everything
We
you've
do,
done.
but I see so many people that either get really affected by a negative response or a comment, or people that, I don't know, it would break my heart.
And
to
people
see-
love to cling to dissatisfying experiences
Yeah.
and interactions as well.
Yeah.
Because you can be amazing and just have one slip,
Yeah.
and then this is all that people talk about.
Yeah.
right? About you.
Precisely.
We're
Yeah.
quite careful with that.
It's not worth it. I feel like at the beginning it used to affect me a lot more.
Yeah, I think
Whatever.
You a
I think
lot.
the
A
longer
lot.
you've
A
been in the
lot.
game, the more you're just a bit more resilient with it all.
Yeah, you are.
And also, people have like 10 go-to terrible things that they say, and then once you hear those 10 things 100 times each, you're like, "Okay, got it."
Okay.
You know, that's all the shit you can say. You know, you can move on with your life.
Yeah.
And then
It's-
you get to the point also you hear all the positive. The positive probably helps outweigh all that negative and helps you appreciate it.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I also
What-
want. I want to shift gears for a second because I want to hear about the hack.
Oh,
The
hack.
That was the
Body
9/11
hack.
of base body.
It was. It actually was. If I could tell you how devastated we were, you would not even believe it. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay, I can't hear myself.
I think you should explain what happened.
Okay.
Instead of assuming everyone knows what that means.
Yeah, yeah. Give some background.
So Felicia and I, obviously, our account is Base Body Babes. What year was it?
2016?
2016, yeah.
2015 maybe?
So we.
I'll say the story at the point where we found it and then you can take over.
Right. Well, at this point, we had 650,000 followers.
Yes. Oh, no. It was like 580, I think it was.
It was over 500,000. It was
Yeah.
good.
We had a lot of followers, a lot of
good.
beautiful people that we had worked so hard to get them as our audience. And then one night, like obviously when you're on Instagram or on social media, you're kind of semi-obsessed. So back then, I was more so obsessed
It
with
was the business. We were
It was the
making good
business.
income from a social media account. A lot of people look at it as just social media. It's a great business, is what it was.
Yeah.
And you keep your head in your
Exactly.
business. You want to keep growing. And you got to stay
No
focused.
doubt.
Exactly.
And
It's just the
they're great
modern
at their
day
business.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I was lying in bed and it was like 4 a.m. and I woke up in the morning and just through the night and I went to do a wee or a pee, whatever you guys call it. I went to do a wee. And just as you do, I went and checked my phone and looked at the account and I went to log on and I wasn't able to log on. I was like, oh, this is strange. Anyway, I'll look on Bass's phone. So I opened up his phone and I tried to find Base Body Babes and I opened it and I found it and then I was refreshing it and the last couple of images started to go. I was like, oh, this is weird. What's
Like
going
they were
on?
disappearing.
They were
They were
disappearing.
disappearing.
So if, one went, two went, refreshing. More
Every
went,
time we
more went, more
refresh,
went.
it
There
was
was like,
gone.
I think there was, I don't know, something like 750 photos or posts at that time. Refreshing, gone. Within 3 minutes, every single photo post had been removed from our account. Refreshed it again. They changed our name from Base Body Babes to Fine Fitness Babes, and it was done. Base Body Babes was no longer. So I'm freaking out, 4 a.m. going, what the is going on? I wake up, Bass, I'm like, oh my gosh, something's happened to my account. I don't know what it is. Messaging Din, she's still asleep. Anyway, got onto Instagram, like trying to message them, trying to find out what had happened. Anyway, day after, we were just like distraught. Obviously, like a lot of people, like Bass said, are like, don't be so dramatic. It's just
people didn't
Instagram.
understand.
It's like your business burning
It's our
down. You
whole
don't have
life.
I feel
insurance.
physically
You don't
ill
have health
just thinking
insurance.
of that
Can you
happening to
imagine?
us.
Like you've worked
crazy.
so hard.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got a design background. Like every post takes me like half a day to a day just to take, one photo and write the copy for it. Like I put so much thought into each and every post and Dinny and I, do photo shoots and lots of things to create this content.
People didn't understand that was actually our live.
It's got the link to our website, Base Body Babes. That's it. Business is done. Like no one can find us anymore. Unless they know us and they search us, no one can see us anymore. So anyway, day after.
Like we did whatever we could to try and get in contact with Instagram, but at the time there was no point of contact. I still don't think there was a point of contact. So it was really difficult for us, but we managed to find somebody to help us.
Some media contacts. Obviously, being in the
Yeah.
industry for so long, we've worked with a lot of PR and media, doing interviews and things like that and articles. So
There was
we wrote
no
to
way we were giving
everyone-
up. There was
yeah.
absolutely no way. So we started a new account because the hacker had taken our name, Base Body Babes, so we could actually open an account called Base Body Babes.
Right.
Again.
Yeah, they
right?
removed
it. So anyway, long story short, we
So did they kept your followers?
They
Yeah,
kept, so
so-
apparently it was someone in California
Yeah.
in some little dungeon.
they could track it back.
and they just took all of our followers because they obviously resell them. Apparently, this is more popular now.
They
like a
sell
lot of
these accounts.
They
They
sell
on-sell
your
accounts,
they
yeah.
sell your followers. So we
Yeah.
had whatever it was, 570, 580,000 people,
And then
they've
these
just-
companies get access to that many people, and then they just start their brand.
So we
based-
started
based
a
on our
massive
following.
campaign called Bring Back Base Body Babes.
Yes.
We started a new page. We've got 50,000 followers overnight.
literally within 24 hours.
And it was just everyone supporting us. Like everyone came together, all of the media people that we knew, all of our contacts were just putting it out there, Bring Back Base Body Babes. And then, no, we need like some sort of music, Caesar. I don't know what it is. They brought it back. So
About a week later.
So
it was 72 hours.
it took 72
So
hours.
what was the process? They they just were able to give you a new password and say this is going to work on your
So
account?
It
basically,
literally
everything
just
was
was
sitting in the
uploaded.
cloud.
Yeah, it was just sitting in the cloud,
So
and
all
then
of a
just,
sudden-
all the posts.
just
Yeah.
came back, just like reappeared.
So
We were like,
I remember we were sitting in my apartment on the bedroom on my bedroom floor, and all of a sudden the account came back, and Felicia and I looked at each other and we were like, "What the?" She was crying, I was crying, we're ringing Bass crying. We're like, "Their account's back." Anyway, literally 24 hours after, the account got hacked again.
yes, remember?
on.
I forgot
Yes.
about that.
So we got our account back, and then 24 hours later, same thing happened again. We're like, "This is not happening." So we were like, onto
What
it.
was your password? Like Base Babe 123.
Okay, so now we've learned from our mistake, and our passwords are really
Insane.
really strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think they did say that was an issue. Make sure you're changing your passwords
I
every
think just
month.
after that, they actually brought in that 2-pass protection, which is now everywhere. So now
Yeah.
you've got to put 2 formats in. So
Interesting.
yeah, so we got our account back.
It was very
but it
dramatic.
was very, very stressful. And actually, it took us a really long time to recover from that. So we lost maybe 200,000 followers back then when the
Because
account
the
got
back and
hacked.
forth, right? People
Well,
don't want to
because-
follow the page anymore. They don't want to follow this page. They don't
Well,
know what
exactly.
it is.
Well,
So
that's what
whoever
happened.
hacked our account was actually blocking all of our followers.
And also when
That's
when
so
you
mean.
when you
Yeah,
report
so rude.
No, it's
the
this.
account, you get blocked.
So if you report someone's account, you automatically get blocked from their account.
So the most loyal followers were reporting,
Yeah.
and the most loyal followers, like we were finding out years later, and still to today,
Still
people are
today.
saying,
Today.
why can't I see your account anymore?
We're like-
and these are these were the people that were purchasing products off us, and were actually the most engaged audience for
Yeah.
us. Were blocked.
So we had to find them. They were like messaging Bass and saying, "Can you get Base Body Babes to find us?" And then we had to try and find them. It's like the most
it's
annoying
crazy.
process.
It is
But
crazy.
anyway, we still
It
are
was a hit to
semi-affected by
it was a hit to the business.
Yeah,
Like it's a
Definitely.
lucrative business. Like you guys know what it's like to have a big account. Like you sell all your products through these accounts. Like, and it's a great business. It's modern day business.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was a lot of negativity that came with it as well. People, first world problems. You've lost your social media.
It wasn't like that at all.
But it wasn't like that at all. That's our
Yeah,
business.
that was our
If-
business model. That was our livelihood. But it did teach us something. It did teach us that Instagram should not be your only platform, and we
Sure.
needed to kind of expand and make sure that we were across everything. So it did teach us a good lesson.
Yeah, it did, definitely.
So did you guys grow your YouTube?
We haven't even started the YouTube yet, but
Listen.
we've just hired our
Listen,
amazing
Steffi.
videographer, and we are going to get started.
So many good
Will you
lessons.
be on our YouTube? Let's do a YouTube.
4 years later.
Doesn't even have YouTube.
I know.
Videos are there. We just need to upload them.
We're starting the YouTube this week.
Yeah,
with
so
Steffi.
that was super dramatic. It was very stressful, but we're
back,
Yeah,
baby.
we're back. We're here. This is us.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cool.
It's cool that, like, obviously it was a very stressful experience, but it's cool that Instagram actually came through.
Yeah, we
And
don't
you
even
got your
know how it
account back.
happened, but
Because you hear about people who just lose their accounts. and
Yeah,
they're
They
forever.
can't get a
I
hold of
think
anyone.
after
Nothing
that-
ever happens.
Yeah, after
Yeah.
our account got hacked, we would get a message a week easily
saying, "How did you do it?"
our
And we
account
were
got
like,
hacked.
we
Can you
don't even
help
know
us?
how it
Wow.
happened.
We're like, I don't know.
But it's come back.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's
don't
quite
don't give
sad.
up. Keep spreading the word, and social media is such a great platform that once you tell one person, everybody was sharing it. So it was amazing for us to get even 50,000 overnight.
But this is the world of
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah,
Wow, a
Yeah.
volatile one.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's
Whoopsie,
move on.
sorry.
And
Oh, hold on. Can we just go back to? Can everyone check their phone and see that their friend, their so-called friend Steffi,
I probably
actually
got a text
messaged
from
us
her.
all?
Oh,
I
I got
didn't.
one, yeah.
What was your last text to her? I
Damn,
asked
I
her.
didn't get one.
She asked.
Fucked up.
I said, "Will you be there at the gym?"
Oh
No,
my
she
God.
didn't respond to me.
She responded to me. Cool, see you
Yeah,
then.
no, she did now.
Stephanie.
7:12 p.m. I sent her a message at 12:40 p.m. Good friend, good friend.
Stephanie.
Wow. Are we doing fitness gossip?
current, yeah.
Oh,
Gossip?
No,
What are
no,
we
we already
talking
did
about?
the gossip.
We
What's
did?
the gossip?
What's
Yeah.
the gossip?
How she got her haircut hacked.
Oh, that was
That's
years
like
ago.
5 years old.
Dude, what are you trying to hustle through these?
She's trying to go
Podcast?
home and shit. What's
She's
up with
hungry.
this?
Steffi's
She's hungry.
hungry.
She's like, where
She's
can
like-
we go for dinner?
No, I don't think we ever talked about the
Is
whole.
the barbecue place open?
No,
We're
it's
going
not.
to
We're not going
barbecue.
there for dinner. We're going somewhere else.
It's closed on Mondays. We've done this like 5 times.
Caesar, can you pass me the
Oh,
popcorn?
sorry,
She needs
sorry,
to eat something.
No,
No,
please
it's
don't.
so
No, that
annoying
can't be on
in
the.
the
That can't be on. That's going to ruin the whole
You
thing.
cannot let her eat
No,
that.
don't,
No,
don't,
it's
don't.
ASMR.
You have good
ASMR.
gossip,
Okay, go on.
Aiden?
Give us some.
Well, I think we never talked about that whole rivalry between Garrett Fear and Evan Cardona, and I feel like that's a good one.
I don't know.
I don't know who all
So
of them are.
Garrett Fear is like the most beloved shit talker in powerlifting, basically.
Best, do you know who
American?
these
He's an
people
American-
are?
American
Oh, you don't.
guy.
He forced himself into people's hearts.
Okay.
He sure did, yeah. He was just like, he forced himself on the powerlifting community successfully just by being so in everyone's face. And I don't know, he's just like, he's so likable.
Yeah,
And he's
so
so
what did he
crazy and
do?
so likable. So everyone kind of gets behind this guy. And then the other guy, you might not know his name, but he was the guy in that video that went viral where the old man in the visor went and like kicked his barbell and like sat on his weight because he violated the gym's chalk rule. Did you guys see that
Oh,
video?
yes. No.
Yes.
Yeah, and
so-
he's like, you wouldn't let him deadlift. And
Yes.
yeah. So that guy from that viral
In
video,
the middle of his set.
yeah,
he was about to go for
about
a PR or
Yeah.
something, and the
Yeah.
guy came and just, like put his foot on the barbell,
seen it.
then sat on it,
This is
and like
so
all
mean.
these memes came out. So, anyways, the guy from that viral video and Garrett Fear somehow got into some sort of like internet battle, and it all like turned into the one guy's vegan and Garrett is
Oh,
not,
wow.
and
Here
so
we
there's
go.
all the making fun of that, and it was like who could out deadlift the other one, basically is what it became online.
Who won?
And
Garrett
So-
pulled 800 first.
Garrett
Yeah.
won?
yeah,
He pulled 805 first, and that other kid pulled it right after.
and also
So
I
they're
feel like
strong.
they're both
Right.
strong, but I feel like Garrett was just leading that guy on the whole time because the guy had a meet coming up,
Yeah.
so he was going to try to do it at his meet, and every time the
The
guy
kid was
would
maxing out deadlifts like every 2 days.
and then Garrett would go and do it at like RP 8. So he would let the guy do it, and then he'd like beat it by 2 pounds
No.
RP 8, and kept doing it until the kid was like
He shredded his hands apart, and the kid couldn't compete at his meet.
exactly like a week out from his meet, so he had to pull out.
Look, I'm not up for that. That's not cool.
No.
Is this all?
Hey, but you pick your battles, man.
Yeah.
Like if you put yourself in that arena, that's your own problem.
Have they seen each
also
other
tell-
face to face?
It's a perfect
No.
example of what we were talking about. Like you could tell that kid, he seems like he's actually really bothered and affected by it. And
Yeah.
Garrett does that to people. Like if you know him personally, like he'll
Oh,
literally
yeah.
just go on people's pages that he doesn't know and just shit on them.
Yeah,
You
he's
know?
like
And
he's the
He's like the depth police of the internet, but then here's the funny thing. He'll say it in person. We were all at Boss of Bosses together, and he was just like talking shit about half the athletes that are right behind him, bigger than him, on God knows how much stuff. Look at they'd tear his head off. And I'm like, they're right behind you. He's like, I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, oh shit, okay.
How old is this
All
person?
right. He's young.
he's just 22.
21, 22. Yeah,
Right.
he's young.
He's gonna we
I
made
want to
him one of
follow
the
him now.
Yeah, you should. He's a good follow. He's always entertaining, that's for sure. But
Wow.
he's gonna be one of the judges at our meet in
Yeah.
February.
Right.
Is the other guy gonna come?
No, the other kid.
other guy's not coming?
At
Well,
your
nothing.
meet?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sick.
he
In-
wanted
in
to
a few
fly
weeks'
down.
time.
Yeah, he wanted
Yeah,
to fly down to
awesome.
help us out. He wrapped like Marcus's and a bunch of the team's knees. He just goes up to meet even if he's not competing and helps out.
Wow.
That's
Okay,
not-
we're really not down with that powerlifting goss.
Oh man, we'll get you all
You
set
don't,
up.
you don't have
Okay.
any powerlifting gossip?
Just tune into the last 10 minutes
but
of
she's
every
saying that they don't know-
podcast.
they don't know
Oh,
these
okay.
people.
Okay.
Base body
Give
babes
me
don't know
some.
about
Give me some of your
powerlifting gossip.
powerlifting gossip.
Yeah, you have Aussie powerlifting gossip?
I don't really. There's always like something going on in powerlifting communities,
We're in
especially
America.
Australia. But in America, like the powerlifting community is a lot bigger. We've discussed that.
Much
so,
bigger.
So what you're talking about to me, it makes me think: are these guys actually friends?
No,
These
So-
guys.
so
Oftentimes there's fake beef.
Right. Yeah.
That just to like drum up interest and
Right.
stuff. But that one I
that
don't
I
think
saw
was.
was Wong versus Joe Sullivan many years ago.
Oh yeah.
And they were like about to, talking about hitting on each other's girls.
Ooh.
And I'm like,
Jordan Wong.
Jordan Wong.
Well, he's
yeah.
a major troll. He's a major
Yeah, he
troll.
is.
But
But
he
then-
lives like an hour and a half north from
He's
us.
a Florida guy, too.
It turned out they were friends.
Okay.
I mean, because I'm in Australia and these guys are in America.
You're like, oh,
I was
they're
like,
gonna fucking kill
whoa.
each other.
man, they were getting deep with like the insults.
Yeah.
Like if it was said towards me, it's like this guy's trying to have a fist fight with me.
Right.
But it ended up they were friends, and that's the first thing that I thought when you were speaking about this.
Yeah.
But no, it's not the case with this one.
I think
don't
it's
think this
actually
one-
good marketing for them, right? If they're
It
trying to
was.
grow, they probably
And they're
Absolutely.
so fun to follow.
It
When people
was.
have Instagram
Yeah.
beef,
Oh yeah.
fun. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to start some Instagram beef, and Hayden never lets me.
Who would you start it with?
Base body babes.
But then if I
She's
try,
gonna
she
start with
threatens
us.
to fire me.
But the other person has to be in on it, right? Or would you do it and they're not in on it?
I don't care.
But you're
Right,
also
okay.
She
you're
cares
also
so much. What is she talking about?
I feel like you're in a position where you can't get involved in that because when you're the best, no one's taking your side. Like
Any
you will
negativity
be
from
the bad
best?
guy for sure.
No doubt, no doubt.
You're
You
the
know?
bully. You're the bully right away.
Yeah, that's true.
You know
You
what?
can't punch down.
I've got some gossip actually.
Ooh,
Hafþór, Björnsson, Eddie
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
are gonna have a boxing fight.
Yeah.
come
Boxing
on.
fight?
Yes.
You
Oh,
guys
dude,
haven't heard
they're
about
way,
this?
they're way
There's
too
like-
big for that.
There's like memes and
20,
everything.
2021. So
That's not
basically,
gonna end well.
well, I think it will end
Thor
well for
is
both
going
of them
to-
in terms of how much they're going to get from it because
Sure.
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah.
So what happened was Eddie Hall
This
was
is the
doing
new
a
thing.
Q&A on YouTube and someone asked him the question, do you think you'd beat Hafþór in a fight? And he was quite diplomatic in his response and said, you know, Thor's a beast. He's a strong guy. He's huge. He's a genetic freak, but I'm always going to back myself. And I say I'm going to beat him. The next video from Thor's YouTube was, you know, he laughed at the guy. He's like, he's only 6'3". This little guy thinks he can beat me. Let's do it, Eddie.
Little guy,
Yeah.
6'3".
Imagine
How
that.
tall is Thor?
6'9", so
6'9".
205 centimeters versus 190
Team
centimeters.
Thor,
Yeah,
Team
sure.
Thor, Team Thor, Team Thor.
And,
So-
and then the next video, so if you go and look at Eddie Hall's recent YouTube, there's actually a cartoon video of Eddie that obviously he made his own bias with it, beating up Thor in the cartoon. Yeah, and they're going to do it. It's going to happen. 2021. Well, so Thor's call out was, listen, I know you can respect I'm training for the strongman events. When that finishes, which is going to be at the end of this year, 2021, let's do it. So it's in discussion.
Wow.
And I guess they have to find the date and place and time. And
Did you see the recent thing with the two YouTube guys who did that?
no.
They,
Yes,
they
I
made
did.
like 70 million or
That
something.
goes,
ridiculous.
that
Yeah.
goes
Who
number
were they?
2. What's
Let's
his
do a
name?
Steffi base body moves against
You two against me.
Yes. We're
versus
taking
one.
you on. It's on.
2 against 1, we need more
The
than
blonde
that.
guy, what's his name? His
Logan
brother.
Paul. Logan Paul.
He's
Oh,
he's
yes.
the second highest paid YouTuber in the world.
Yeah.
So he makes 22 million a year or something like that from his YouTube
Yeah.
account.
Crazy.
And he made 70.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what I think the
Serious?
figure that I heard. Yeah,
Amazing.
Well, it's
And-
worth it. I'd get beat up for that.
yeah, for sure,
Absolutely.
for sure. But I think like they should promote it themselves, and you know, I think they could work something.
I think-
they could make a
I
lot of
think,
money off
yeah,
that
it
fight. I
will.
think.
I agree because like I'd pay to see it. What about you guys?
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
I'd be
Like,
to see
that's
that.
Two strongest guys.
The two of the
Yeah.
strongest men in the world
Fighting.
that has ever lived. Like it's always a debate who's stronger, and those guys are the two names that always come up as the strongest people who have ever walked on this planet.
Yeah.
and they're about to have a fist fight. Like
Team Thor.
Wow.
oh,
Team
watch
Thor.
this.
Do they have actual beef?
in a boxing ring with boxing gloves, they want to do it like legally.
No,
They're not-
do they have actual beef?
What's
There has been.
like
Between
bad
each
blood.
other.
There has been bad blood between them. I believe some of it has been resolved, but there's always
A
A
little
little
bit
bit that
there.
makes
There's
them
a
want
little
to
bit.
fight.
They're competitors. They're competitors
If
at the
it's your
highest
best
level.
friend, you're not going to be like, all right, let's go at it so easily, right?
I mean, for 70
whoever
million.
wins,
For 70 million. No.
whoever wins it is going to be pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
My money's on Thor. Always is.
Always is,
Never bet
100%.
against Thor. That's rule number one with the strength game. I know this isn't the strength game, but something interesting. He's got one of his training partners. It's a guy called Skuli. He's a pro boxer. And go back on YouTube and you'll find it somewhere. Hafþór actually had a fight with him in a boxing ring with gloves. And this guy's a good boxer. He's also about 6'3". He's a big fat guy and he's just a beast. And Thor beat him up.
Whoa.
Thor's not a fighter, but he's just his reach and everything is just the weight of his hands. And this guy said his head was ringing for a week, copying hits from
And this guy's
Hafþór.
tough.
Whoever loses is going to be severely damaged.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I really believe that Thor has the athleticism as well. So Thor came from a basketball background. And you know,
I feel like it'd be a quick fight. It's whoever gets the right punch quick enough.
Well, the
knocked out.
heavyweight fights don't usually last
They
that long
don't.
anyway.
yeah, it could be a knockout or it could be so like I don't want to say this to lose hype around the fight, but heavyweights get gas real quick.
Yeah.
But not Thor.
so
Thor's
just
so fit.
But
Whoa.
no, but I mean, even in
For-
the
for a
UFC,
big guy.
guys who are training for that, they even get
Yeah, it's
gassed
not like
out after a couple
not like the
rounds.
little lightweight 60 kilos.
If it goes, I'll tell you how I would run it. If I was the promoter of the show, I'd do 1 minute rounds.
That's the promoter.
I would do 1 minute rounds because a 3 minute round with these guys, they're going to get gassed.
Yeah.
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 When I saw, especially Eddie, I don't believe Eddie's anywhere near as fit as Hafþór. After every event at World's Strongest Man, Eddie's walking off with a mask, with an oxygen mask.
Yeah, how's
Because oh man, like the level that these guys are lifting at. So now they're going into an endurance event.
That's wild.
It'll be boring if it goes beyond the first couple of rounds.
Sure.
I hope,
Okay, yeah.
I hope they just
Florida
start
man.
swinging.
Stay tuned.
Florida
Florida man, but where's
The camera's
Tiani?
gonna die. The camera's gonna die for real.
We
C's got
lost
one.
Florida man. Can I just ask, Is Florida Man one person or is Florida Man?
No, they Google it.
Like this is so confusing
so-
to me.
No, so there was a
I got it.
challenge. I explain this every so
got one?
often. So there's a
Explain
challenge
it.
like
Hold
a
on.
year or two where if you search Florida Man
Yeah.
followed by
Birthday.
your birth date,
Yeah.
there's guaranteed to be a news story of some kind of crazy article of some man from Florida doing something
Okay,
insane.
Did you
getting
guys start
arrested.
this yourselves?
Yeah,
No,
Felicia.
the podcast?
No,
yeah,
no.
that trend from back then. No.
What's
Okay.
what's your birthday?
17th of the 2nd.
Huh?
Do I need to say the
17th
year?
of February.
Oh, February.
Oh, you
Excuse
say
me.
the other way around.
The other way around.
Sorry, 2nd of the
Florida
17th.
Man.
February
No,
17.
17, babe. 17.
How what?
February
17.
17.
How did we get second?
Because the second
Second month.
month is February, my babe. So.
You heard the date from the Queen over here.
Okay, what happened? ¿Qué pasa?
A Clearwater person, a Florida man,
Hold on.
has been charged with pointing a laser at a law enforcement helicopter.
Wow.
Like a laser pointer?
Like,
Oh, what a
Did
did it bring it
dumbass.
down? Did it
No,
bring it
it's
down?
just like one of those things you make your dog chase.
That's
on
so
the ground.
dangerous.
He was charged with felony misuse of a laser lighting device and held at the county jail.
Felony.
He had a bond at
Well, yeah, dude. You can't
$25,000.
mess with the cops like
That's a-
that.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
It's
they
a
would've-
boring offence, though. Imagine getting charged and all the jail
Can you check
inmates say
my
to
one? I
you,
want to
What
see.
did you
what,
do?
what are you here for?
You have to
You're
lie.
pointed the
Yeah,
Yeah, I
laser.
had a
May
fucking sniper. I was going to kill them. Yeah.
All right, what's our current
Hold on.
Florida Man? Wait, I'm introing
We're
it.
checking May
Hybrid
17.
Unlimited Florida Man by Felicia
No.
Johnson, Felicia Oreb.
You've
A
done
Florida
yours.
man
Done yours.
is behind bars after authorities say he hit multiple civilian cars and multiple sheriff's patrol cars during a high-speed chase.
Can I just say,
that's
like, I
hardcore.
feel like it's quite suited to our birthdays. Like, you would do the laser.
I would
and
never
I
do
would-
anything bad
Yeah,
ever.
but like, if we were bad people.
no. You can go and do that one. I'm not like that at all.
That is the extent of how bad you would be. You would point a laser at
you
someone.
would never do
That's
anything.
as bad as it would get.
I would not
Exactly.
even.
Got you with my laser.
And apologize
Exactly.
immediately after.
Exactly.
I would not use a laser.
and here I am, run people.
You would not.
No,
you
we would
not.
never. Okay, that was good.
Do you want to tell us our current Florida Man today? Is it today or is this week?
Just recent.
Just recent. So, a Florida man was charged for throwing an alligator into Wendy's drive-thru.
Wow.
He
No.
got assault with a deadly weapon because
You guys, you have some scary people here.
That's the most Florida thing you could ever do.
That is-
personally.
like
Yeah.
just the alligator.
Dude, I wish
Yeah.
Steve Irwin was
Unbelievable.
here to save them.
Wow.
Well, the Aussies are here, but we ain't saving you from that bloody
You
alligator.
don't wrestle crikeys?
No.
Oh, I finally got the
way.
voice.
Yeah.
A
It's
crikey
getting
is
better.
not a
It's
thing,
getting
man.
better.
How do you say crocodile?
Crocodile.
No,
Or a croc.
Say it with your accent.
Croc.
A croc.
No,
it's
you
still
stop
British.
talking like
Crocodile.
an English
Ah,
person.
one day I'll get
Crocodile.
it. One day I'll get it.
Crikey, mate.
We don't have like full-on Aussie accents. Crocodile.
We do. You always say to me,
Yeah.
tone down your accent.
No, you
You get
tone
embarrassed
down your
of me.
Australianisms.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
very
like as
Aussie.
in the,
Like you say Australian
lingo.
words.
yeah, the
They're not
lingo.
English words, they're
Like
Australian
we,
words.
actually, last time we were here, we had a really funny discussion about
Yeah.
that. But there's quite a language barrier between us.
you
although,
guys-
although we're both speaking
It's
English
slang.
to each
It's
other.
just different slang.
Yeah, you just like
Hey.
mix in these fun little words
What's
for
your
regular
favorite?
stuff.
What's your favorite Aussie word?
Car park, buggy, lift. Those
Okay,
are all, like-
jumper.
Yeah,
He's
jumper.
like, what's a
Jump-
jumper?
jump-
Yeah, jumper.
Okay, do you know what Chucky Yui is?
Like to make a U-turn?
Yes,
Oh,
like you-
yes.
Very
Okay.
good.
Do you know
Very
what? I'm
good.
so spewing.
No.
What's
if I was
spewing?
if I was
vomiting?
spewing, if I was
Throwing up?
spewing, if I was spewing with you,
I'm
Angry,
spewing with you.
angry.
Yes,
Okay.
angry.
Good one.
very good.
Yeah.
What's another one that I say?
Well, we would say steaming.
Really?
Oh,
like you're so angry
Spewing,
that
I'm
like
Well, you're
spewing.
spewing, you're steaming. You know
What
what
about
I mean?
if I?
What about?
Oh, no, no.
I know.
I go,
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 Dinny.
go.
Okay, go. Tinny.
What happens if you take the piss out of me? I'm taking.
I know
the
what
piss-
it means because you've told me.
Oh, then that sucks.
But-
I'm taking
Hold
the
on,
piss out-
hold on.
I'm taking the piss out of you.
You're annoying me.
You're a fucking
No.
pisser.
No,
I
I'm
don't
taking
know.
the piss out of you.
if she's taking the piss,
I'm
out of
making
you,
fun of you.
means she's making.
Okay, wait. I got one.
Go.
Oh no, I've got
wait,
one.
no.
Got the shits with
I've
you.
got the shits with you. That's what I was
What
trying to
does
say.
that mean?
I've got the shits with you.
If I have the shits with
I've
you,
got
Want
the
to
shits
fight?
with
You
you.
got beef.
it means I'm angry with
I'm
you.
angry with
So
you.
it doesn't. Okay, well, the most common misinterpretation is I've got diarrhea with you.
Remember
To
when I said
diarrhea
it?
together.
yeah.
Both of these sounded kind of kinky.
Oh, I don't know about your kinks. I think that's
Someone's
called.
kinks.
I think that's called scat.
Yuck.
We're not into
No.
that in Australia.
We've got the shits with you.
Just before we came in here, I said to Steffi, I need to do a wee. What was your interpretation
It's
of what
pee.
I said?
No, the problem was that I didn't understand what the hell you were saying.
So what did I
and
say?
in my brain, it sounded like where's the wallet? And I had to ask her to say it like 7 times.
Slow it down. Slow it
Look,
down.
I also think that we speak quite fast. I mean, I speak pretty slowly, but Aussies in general speak quite fast. So it's
Have you
hard-
guys understood everything that we have said on this podcast?
Oh, I mean, we're fluent now.
Leave a comment below.
You're used to us. You're used to us. You know our lingo.
Yeah.
stay tuned
More or
for
less.
more?
But something that I know now, because we go to Europe a lot, I know we've been, like when I say I've got the shits, and I keep on talking, and
They're
people,
like, "You're sick?"
Europeans look at me and they just keep laughing. I'm like, hang on a second. Do you know
You
what it
don't
means when I said
understand
I've got the shits? And they're like, diarrhea? I'm like, man, this guy thinks I've just shit myself. And he's laughing at me.
Which you might have.
That's not what I meant, though. If I did, I wouldn't tell you. Not now, anyway.
They would notice.
But I mean, I think people they're just used to being polite and social people, that they'll just laugh and continue with the conversation and hope that it kind of makes sense later
Right.
on.
So anyway, when are you guys coming to Australia next?
I don't know.
Come back. Come
It's too
back.
far.
It's
I think
so
it's
far.
March.
It is so far. 22 hours back home.
March.
March 2020.
For what?
Raw.
I didn't get invited.
Uh-oh.
I don't get
dear.
invited.
Oh, I didn't get an invite.
Yeah, I need to get an invite.
All right.
That's
Who-
right.
okay.
It's Steffi Cohen.
All right.
She's doing the hybrid showdown, which I didn't even send her a formal invite.
Yeah, I wish we were here for
Is she
that.
invited? She won't
No, I
come.
didn't send her a formal invite.
She won't come.
Look at that.
And she might
that's,
not
that's the only meet she'll do
And
without
even
an
if
invite.
you text her, she's not going to respond
No,
to you anyway.
no.
No,
That's true.
I'll respond on my own time.
Actually, I still need to
Few
collect
hours.
her registration money. I haven't done that yet.
What?
Your registration money.
I'll pay you.
I wish we were coming. I want to come to the hybrid
well, I'm
showdown.
gonna be
Dinah's
here.
going to be here for it.
I'll represent for us.
What
don't
date is
worry.
it? What date is it?
BBB
February
times
1st and
ASC
2nd.
representing. Yeah.
Hybrid showdown. Well, good luck
Okay,
with
yeah,
that, guys.
seriously, I'm so hungry.
All right. What do you
Thanks,
want?
seriously.
Thanks for
Can you
being
give a
here.
nice outro? This is giving people bad
No,
taste.
she just wants to eat. She doesn't
By
care.
people, you mean you?
Yes.
Okay.
She's like, I don't care
All
who
right.
is here.
No,
Get
seriously,
that
thank you guys.
Scarface looking look off your face.
She's looking at jewelry, mate. All right, let's do this. Do your
She's
outro.
shopping.
So
She's ready
rude.
to eat.
Just so rude.
Go.
We know she loves us. She just tries to play. She's playing hard to get with us. This is
Okay.
what she does.
Ready, set, go. Outro.
Yeah, you got to rap.
Bye,
before you
guys.
say
I
something
don't have
else
to
weird.
rap.
Bye, guys.
It up, baby.
Because apparently Alex doesn't like my rapping job.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Hybrid Unlimited. We appreciate you guys being on. It was
Thank
a
you for
pleasure.
Thank you for
We
having us. That
appreciate
was
you
so
having
much
us.
fun.
Thank you.
Where can we find you guys on social media?
At Australian Strength Coach.
At Base
Well,
Gym
hold on, no,
Babes.
no.
Whoa.
That was way
People
too
don't
fast.
understand that. People won't
At-
understand that.
At Australian Strength Coach.
Thank you.
That's on Instagram.
At-
On YouTube, it's just Australian Strength Coach. I
At-
do have a YouTube channel.
I just said at 500 times.
One more, I won't cut you
Okay,
off.
okay. At Base Body Babes, BASEBODY BABE.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having us, guys. We love you.
Let's go
Love you
eat.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.